Easy. So, perfect. Right. Great. We will bow into it. Great. Onegaishimasu. Right, perfect. So welcome. Some of you not seen for a while, which is cool. So we're going to do this workshop. This is today and tomorrow. Some of you are just here for Saturday. So the idea of this workshop is to work on alignment, and the title for it was like moving in alignment. So, but first we're going to start with some kind of static exercises for looking at alignment. I'm basically going to divide into two. So we've got Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to look, or we're going to look on today on Saturday at kind of external alignments, which is really about mechanics and alignments in terms of limbs and spine and kind of coordinating the body. And then tomorrow we'll look at slightly more the sense of the internal alignments, which is really about breath work and intention and bringing those kind of things together. Basically like bringing yourself into alignment with the movement. But today we'll look more at the kind of physical aspects of it. So we'll kind of get right into it. So we'll just do a little bit quick mobility work. So just working first with the head, just nice, slow, big circles. So just loosen everything off, nice and quick. Work one way, work the other. Perfect. And then just working with the neck, rolling forwards and backwards. Play with both ways. You kind of roll the chin towards the chest out. You can also roll it in this way and just loosen everything up. Leave it side to side. So, perfect. Great, take the shoulders, nice, big rotations. Think of the shoulders as the whole chest as well. So the chest, the shoulder blades, try and get those all in motion. So rather than just the shoulders themselves, that whole part of the body moving, right? Big as you can. As if you're drawing the shoulders up to the ears and back. Right, perfect. And then circling forwards. Great. Great, just with the arm one way. Nice big rotation, kind of brushing the arm to the ear. Great. Perfect, the other side. Great, both together, rolling up from the top, out to the side. In the way. The arms just brush against the face as they come over. Great, we'll go to the elbow, so just working one side, like you're kind of lassoing. So you want to really loosen out the elbow. Work it in every direction. You can also go both ways with it. That's it, the other side. Right, good, perfect. Other way. Work them both together. If you're coordinated, you can do them the other way, opposite ways. Right. Yeah, good, goodness. So, great wrists, just shake them out. Working them up and down. Be side to side this way. This way. Great, and then just for the whole limb, stretch it out and just play with, as if you're being pulled with the shoulders, and play also with the whole joint, so not just the shoulder, but also play with the hands and play with the elbows, fingers, every part of that limb. Yeah. Then you can do one side, or you can work them both together. So, perfect. Great, take it to the chest. So the first one, you're just going to breathe out as you do this movement, and then breathe in as you open it out. So you're looking to really open, expand. Breathe in. and then curling, open, think about opening the back. So opening the back, but closing the chest, breathing out. Nice deep breath in. Closing. Right, and then keeping the hips static, just pulling out the chest side to side. That's it. Just the upper spine. So perfect. Right, and then you're going to work it in circles. And trying to keep the hips static, neutral. You get some movement into the chest. Right, into the hips. So you just want the feet nice and flat on the ground. You roll in the hips as wide as you can. Right, both directions. Right down to the knees, feet together. And away. A little bit front and back, stretching the knees back. Again. Go to the ankle. In this case, place the weight into one leg. Let the ankle go to the back, so you're kind of focusing on the weight here, loosening the ankle. Do this 2 ways. First with the toes up, roll them both ways with the ankle. So keeping most of the weight on the opposite leg gives you the freedom to move to the other side. And then nice and lightly curl the toes under, just working the toes as you do it. Nice and gentle, not too much pressure. Great. Changing sides, toes up. And toes curled under. Great. And then this one's really for the whole body, so you're going to stay in that kind of position. Keep the legs straight like you're on a kind of train track. You're going to open up, stretch the whole body up. And then what I want you to think about is keeping that, curling down with the whole body straight into the leg. And then what you're going to do is kind of wave in and out of this motion. So you're going to curl from this position, curl the spine up, curl, 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 reach up, and then wave it down. Curl up, straight, and then coil it down. It's nice and flexible. Let the whole body work. Great, and now on the other side, just changing the leg. Curl down, curl the spine up. Whoosh. All right. Okay, perfect. Great, just coming back, just shaking everything out. Feet planted in the ground. So, just check everything's kind of loose and free. Check the hips, legs. Oh, yeah. Great, perfect. So grab a joke. Good. Okay. So there's kind of 3 main alignments that we're looking at in the body in terms of the kind of external physical alignments of the body. The key one for, or well, they're all key for us, but the first one we're going to look at is the legs. So there's 3 alignments within the 3 alignments. So we talk about these all the time, or I talk about them all the time. You've got the hip, knee to the feet, or hip, knee, toe. If you think about it like this. You've got in the arm, you've got the shoulder to the elbow to the hand. And then in the spine, you've got like the tailbone to the thoracic spine here in the chest, and the back of the skull here. So you've got these kind of lines that run through the body. So we'll first work with the legs, nice and easy. So what I want you to do is the first one for us is the hinges between the joints. So just plant the foot down and just place the jaw in front of the body. So just a little bit. There. Okay. So the main one, the first, just to start with, is just the sense of getting the hinge in the knee. So and the position of. There. Okay, so you're going to place it in. All I want you to think about is the jaw straight. Just pressing the knee towards the jaw. Pressing it in towards the jaw. Keeping the foot flat. So you just want the direction of travel for the knee. Always to kind of maintain alignment. So you go towards the foot. And in this case, depending on your anatomy, you want it to go to the midline of the foot. So you don't want it to go in towards the big toe or the little toe. You want it somewhere, for me, it's around the second toe. So second, third toe, around this kind of area. But you want the direction of travel to be right towards that line, this way. And just explore in this kind of position, keeping the foot flat, play with the other hip, and just the ability to just travel it down. Travel it down. So this is super easy to kind of maintain the alignment. So standing nice and easy. Try both sides. Just placing the jaw at the front, the foot, bringing it out, bringing it out, bringing it out. That's it. Super. Okay, the main thing here is try and feel it. Now, is what I want you to do is get a little bit deeper into it. Imagine you were taking this into a squat or a little bit of a lower position, and just feel the tendency of the knee, depend again on your anatomy and the hip as well, that you might feel the tendency the knee starts to come into this kind of alignment. So it starts to collapse in. This is the main one we want to avoid. So what you want to feel in this case is really, again, that the knee is pressing out this way. But again, feel as you go, put the joint under a little bit of stress. So a little bit lower, a little bit deeper. And just feel, what you want to feel is the limb being able to sink into the ground, open, without kind of collapsing. So the knee's the kind of key joint for this. Do this wrong as well. So do it lightly, but do it wrong so you can feel misalignment, where you're basically missing the structure. So you want a line to run through the structure. Just play with it, take it as deep as comfortable. If it's comfortable in this position with the jaw like in front of the foot, you can play with taking the jaw a little bit further out if you've got the ankle mobility. So just play with it. But if it's comfortable here, you can kind of come down. I can keep the alignment. Just play with it a little bit deeper out. So you can come here. You can also take this into the ground with the other leg. But again, that key is letting that knee track to the toes, to the midline of the foot. Just there, like that. That's it. Nice and easy. Perfect. Yeah, great. That's it, John. Nice. Nice. It's super easy. Great. That's easy. Great. So you're just going to place the jaw now in the instep of the foot, just here, and you're going to get it into the knee here. So it's going to kind of slot in. Just be careful of the top of the jaw here. But yeah, what I want you to do now is go into a squatting position. So however comfortable you feel with the squat, you might find it comfortable with the feet forward. You might find it more comfortable with the feet a bit wider and out. Whichever feels more comfortable, where you can feel that you can sit into the squat. So just find that kind of position. Get the jaw just lightly touching the instep. And again, you want to feel, especially now that the knee is able to not misalign here, but again to track along this line. And just going to use the jaw gently. Just start a little bit of awareness of this line. This line. You can try this on both sides. But you want the knees to kind of spread and open. So if you think about, in terms of movement, if you think about the jokamai, that we take all the skikamai, that sense of spreading out. So as soon as the knees start to collapse inwards, this is where I've broken the alignment. It is really hard to kind of keep a good solid structure. So let the knees spread out, down, and the further I go into it, the more I need that alignment. But the further I go, the more this starts to collapse in, the more I start to come out of alignment. So just find it, hold it a little bit at the bottom. Check it, feel nice and comfortable. That's it. Perfect. Yeah, and you can do this with two as well. If you've got two jaws or a bokken, you can also do this with both. Yeah, good idea, Catherine. I think of it. Very good. Right. Good. Perfect. Easy. Great. So what we'll do now, again, that's easy, a little bit easy with no pressure. What you're going to do now with the jokes, take the joke here, you're going to raise the arms up over the body. A little bit like going into a kind of deadlift. So you've got more pressure now. We won't go into the alignments and spine, we'll do that later. But just think about the spine being light. So you've got a little bit more load in the body now. And again, just think about keeping that alignment from the body this way. And coming up with it. So keep the spine as neutral as possible. Don't think about it too much, but just put a little bit more load into the body. Play with the position of the jaw so you can put it to the front, which will give you a little bit more pressure. Just play with, again, that alignment. You want to feel that you're kind of, rather than think about the legs pressing out, think about you squeezing them in from the back. So at the same time with this alignment, you don't want to think about just, I'm preventing this from happening by pushing out. Think about actually compressing the legs in. So if you imagine like a spring here, you're actually pressing in. So you probably feel that as you come down. The need to kind of anchor the body in the ground is a sense of compression inside the body this way. So just play with the jaw kind of here. Play with that a little bit more weight into the movement. Perfect. Easy. Great. Okay, perfect. Good. Perfect. Great. We'll go to now like a lunge position. So what I want to do is split the legs. With this to start, because we used to do in Aikido, we used to kind of twist the hips out to the back. So first get the hips so they're really square on like a box. The feet are like they're on train tracks. The back legs pointing forward this way. So again, just play with here, just that alignment first. And then just coming down, so you're just going to bring the knee into the ground, just to that kind of position. And you just want to feel that you can raise up out of it. So you're just going to raise up and down, raise up and down, raise up and down. Again, just check that alignment with the foot. It's really easy now for that foot to start to kind of, for the knee to come out of the alignment. But think about the hip to the knee spreading towards the foot. Super easy. And the same in the back leg as well. So you want that alignment now coming up as you go. Again, just play this both sides. Use the jaw as support if you need it. So, perfect. Easy. Good. Great. What I want you to think about, because this is like a forward motion, think about the movement back as well. Well, the areas of the body we tend to have less feeling for is the back of the body. So the rear of the body. One of those areas that we usually have very little feeling is the back of the knee. Unless you get an injury in the knee, and you start to really think about it. But get the sense now that as you do this movement, not only thinking about the front, the knee, but I'm thinking also the back of the knee. This is especially true when you're kind of coming up. So think about as you come up, pushing back with the knee. So just bring a little bit of awareness now to the back of the leg, especially the back of the knee. Go back to that, rather than just like the front, the front, the front, the front. So try and balance your feeling in terms of the structure of the leg. Which includes the hip, the back of the hip, the back of the knee, the heel of the foot. So bring your awareness to the kind of back side of the foot, the leg. Right. Super good. Great. And then again, just add a little bit of pressure. So just putting the jaw at the top, keeping the spine neutral, and just play with lowering yourself down. So keeping that alignment here. A little bit more pressure, and not too much. Play with both sides. Dropping down. There you go. Yeah, just always trying to track the knee towards the toes. That's it. Good. That's it. Perfect. Good. Yeah, and play with the Joe so I can load it to the front of the body. You can even load this to the back of the body as well. So you just kind of come into this kind of position and into it, just kind of changing the orientation of the Joe. Perfect. Great. Great. Perfect. Okay, just plant the Joe down, just to loosen the leg up. So just rolling the hip out, loosen it out a little bit. Again, you're looking at that same alignment all the time. So whatever you do, whenever you're looking at it, think of these kind of alignments. So whether it's walking, doing these kind of swinging exercises, you always want to be working on that kind of alignment. Loosen it out, play the other side a little bit. Okay, so the next alignment in the body is the kind of upper alignment with the arm. So this alignment is the shoulder, elbow, hand, which also includes the wrist, fingers, all these other joints. But the main joints to think about is the hand to the elbow to the shoulder as you do this. So again, you've got the same idea with the elbow. I just want to play with taking the jab. We'll first look with the shoulder. So just the mobility in the shoulder or the kind of function of the shoulder. So obviously it's like a ball and socket. Just first play with loosening it out. So you feel all that motion. It's got a huge range of motion in the shoulder. That. So you've got all that mobility there. What you want to feel also is the shoulder. This goes on a little bit later, what we're looking at, but connected it into the spine as well. So really feel the shoulder doesn't just kind of stop like it's cut off here, but this whole area. So including the shoulder blade. And you want to really feel that whole area is included within this field here. That's it, perfect. Great, and then just taking the Joe here, just with the thumbs at the top. Yeah, keeping the arms straight, elbows straight, hands straight. Just play with raising them up to the top. And try and keep the spine kind of neutral. You don't want to kind of arch the back or anything like this. Just draw it up to the top. Drop it down, nice and easy. Draw it up to the top, down, nice and easy. Great. You want to do in this one, the shoulder not raise up, but sink back towards the body. So let the shoulder kind of sit into the body, towards the back. Right. That's it. Easy peasy. That's it, that's it. Easy, easy, easy. Great. Okay, elbows, they form the same function as the knees, so they're just hinges between the hands and the shoulders. So just play with here, just like this movement, this movement. Again, they're going to track along the arm. So you know this from Aikido, whenever you go into like a structure like this, out of structure, this is very difficult for the elbow to kind of deal with pressure. So a lot of the techniques we're doing in Aikido, classic is like kotegaeshi, is you're taking the ability of the elbow to function as a hinge, because you're taken into a shape where it can't then start to do this. And as long as if I'm the uke and I can control the elbow again, then I can start to kind of work it and escape it. Or if you think about Nikkyo, it's about putting the joint into a position from the wrist where you can start to control the function of the elbow. So all the kaishiwaza that we do from Nikkyo, if you know them, they involve basically taking back control of the elbow so that I can start to use the elbow in a kind of hinge again. So just play here, just this. Play with the position of the hands like this, but just play with the elbow's function, which is just a hinge. Just got this kind of movement, a classic press-up position. Again, just want the elbow, in this case, just to track the hand and the shoulder, basically forming a line. A classic push. Right. So. Great. That's it. Easy. Great. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And then we'll take this into the wrist. So why don't you just take it anywhere up the length of the jug here. Again, don't lock the jug, but you don't want to use now the articulation in the elbow especially. So what I want you to play with is just the mobility in the wrist. So the wrist has a lot of mobility for us. So you've got wide range of motion, not only this way, but also this way, and also working in together into a rotation, into a spiral. So I just want you to first play with the idea that you can roll up the wrist. So that whole mobility is available for the wrist. So, and again, it's just going to align in this case towards the shoulder. So it just goes up to the shoulder, just drop it down. So just play with both sides again. Again, anything which comes out of that alignment is going to start to add pressure to the joint. So just play again, just play with also like coming out of the alignment. And you're not, in this case, misaligning, you're just you're giving a little bit more pressure to the wrist. So we use these obviously all the time. Now, as long as later it's backed up by the body, you can get away with these movements. Or it's backed up by the spine. But in the case of a kind of simple alignment of the arm, just look at the wrist to the shoulder. Right, that's it. Easy. Okay, the other one this way, just playing with this alignment there. So the key with this one is not thinking about this line, but this line again. So whatever the Joe's doing doesn't actually matter. It's what's happening in my own body this way. So again, if I take this out of alignment, this is going to be really difficult for the arm. Take it out of alignment, this is really tricky for the arm. So it gives me a lot of stress on the joint. So just play here nice and lightly, but you want to really think about now this alignment through the whole structure. Right. And I'm looking, the key thing later we'll look at is like, I want the alignment to give me stability so that I can mobilize the joint system. As soon as I get the stability starts to come out or it's compromised, mobility disappears as well. So you'll notice like coming out of balance and these kind of things, as soon as I've lost the alignment in the body, not only my stability compromised, but also my ability to just move. So just play also with coming out of alignment or misaligning the joint, just so you really have a clear picture of like what happens to the body when you come out of the structure. And again, if you look at the reverse of it, what we're looking to do with our partners is take them out of structural alignment. So it makes them easier to control and neutralize. Just play with both hands. Right, good, easy. Great. Great, and then just again, just add a little bit more pressure, so start to come out of the body or away from the body. But again, really think about this alignment through the body. So don't be concerned too much with the jaw, but with this alignment down the arm. So just that. Right. Just playing again with the joint. Try and find, in this case, the limit of your ability to hold the structure. So again, if I come out of the alignment where the shoulder's pulling away from the body, this again is going to add a lot of pressure into the system. I'm taking the structure out of balance, and then I can't really mobilize the structure. So just find the limit. So you want strong tension, but the shoulder should sit into the body. Right. So play with both sides. And again, coming out of alignment with it, you get a really clear idea of what happens to the body. Under stress, it's just going to start to lock up. So play with in, out of alignment. So, great, easy. Yeah, great, perfect. Great, and then just playing with this one. So again, it's a little bit more of a complex movement. And again, I've got to really focus on the alignment within the joint system itself. So what you do now is from this position, raise the jaw up to the top of the head and then bring it back down. So as you're arcing it, the joint is still staying within that system. So as it arcs away, the hand to the elbow to the shoulder is constantly trying to align itself. Right. Imagine you're doing this like with a really heavy jaw. or a heavier object. To do it, you're going to have to get the body, the joint underneath it, the elbow underneath the hand. There. So you want to kind of drive the jaw up from the shoulder, through the elbow, through the hand. So now you're not only looking at the alignment of the joint itself, you're looking at the coordination of the joints. So you want to feel that the movement. You can play with this also. Play with starting the movement in the wrist. So if I started in the wrist, take it to the elbow, take it to the shoulder. Not only is that really hard on the body, it's really heavy, takes me out of balance. So play with, you've got that, you've got this, and then play with shoulder, elbow, wrist, dunk, comes up. So play a little bit with the coordination now of the joints through the movement. Again, you can play with the grip with this, so any kind of movement. Just trying to introduce a little bit more complexity into it. A little bit more of a challenge to maintain the structure. That's perfect. Right, okay, perfect, easy. Yeah, great. Set. Okay, perfect. So we're looking at the main alignment for us. Although these are important, the arms are important. The main one is the core of the body. So this alignment, what you're going to do is just place the jaw along the back of the spine, just here. So the alignment you're looking for, in this case like this, you want to think about the tailbone, the tail of the body, or the spine, right at the tip of the spine. You want to think about the back of the thoracic spine, so this part of the spine, and you want to think in the base of the skull here. So if you feel the back of the skull, you probably feel a little bony bit in the skull. It's right at the base of the skull. You want to think about this pressing up and back towards the jaw. So just checking this alignment, basically standing up tall. So often this analogy is used like you've got a string in the body being gently pulled up, which is useful in terms of like elevating, getting a sense of length in the body. But also this is a nice useful thing to think about, which is like actually pressing the back of the body against something. So if you imagine you're like sat in a car seat with the headrest, although car seats are the worst kind of position to practice this in. If you imagine like a car headrest, you're slightly pressing the head back against it. So there's a little bit of pressure building up against it. And the key one again, think about the thoracic, this part of the spine. It can come out of that alignment, in which case like that. And it can also curl where the head starts to come out of alignment. So just play with it, just mobilizing along that, or misaligning the system. So you can take the head out, you can take the hips out into this kind of movement. You can take the spine out. So you've basically got tailbone to head in this one. But just play with it, see how the structure's kind of responding. And then we'll add a little bit of pressure to it. That's it. Yeah, and the main one for us is actually the head, because we spend a lot of time also, if you think about anything you're doing during the day, it's on the computer a lot, on the phone, or anything like this, then the tendency is for it to drop forward. So again, it's about bringing awareness to the back of the head. And in this case, just play with the skull. So obviously people have this image of like lifting the head up, which really just gives you a sense that it's kind of floating above the head. What I want you to feel here in this case, play with this exercise. You raise the head up, so as high as it can go, like this. So you want to feel that bony, again, that bony part of the head, here on the base of the skull. Well, you want to feel this position basically as high as it can get. Now, what you want to do is drag the chin back, and you want to maintain that length through the back. So you want that part of the skull to be lifted off. And again, it's about later mobility. The more this is lifted and raised up, so that it's not a kind of burden on the spine, the more mobility I've got in the body. So I just want to play now with, as you draw this up and back, that. I want you to feel the rest of the body should start to loosen off a little bit. So this is about integrating for us the hips and the shoulders. The more this starts to load out, take here, the more pressure builds up here, the more immobile I become. So like working on a computer, driving, all these kind of activities, they're not great in terms of posture, in terms of functional posture. So just play a little bit with the head and how it affects, again, the spine and how that converts into the shoulders, the hips. So. That. Go. See, where we are. Set, perfect. Great. And again, just a little bit of pressure with this. So keep this alignment now here, and you're just going to again take it into a squatting position. So what I want you to do, start really tall, stand up nice and tall, and then again, however comfortable you feel with the squat and however comfortable you feel going down, go as far as you can, basically maintain this alignment through the body. Oh, sorry. 1 second. There we go. Great. So just take it as low as you can. The key one with this you'll probably feel again is the head. You might either feel this happening, splitting away from the jaw, or this happening, which is basically the top of the spinal thoracic starting to pull away from that alignment. So again, just take it as low as you can whilst maintaining that pressure towards the back. Keep the hips nice and free. Feel free to adjust them as you go down, widen them, play with them, but just any way I can basically keep this alignment with the body. And this is not about standing straight, it's about maintaining the alignment through the body. So you will naturally feel the hips start to hinge. You know, obviously you can maintain the straightness in the body, but it takes slightly different mobility with it. But again, just feel those 3 points, the base of the skull, the back of the upper spine, and the tailbone. Just play with movement, sinking. Right. There we go. Yeah. The tailbone. Right. So the key one, most of you are kind of missing is the tailbone as you do it. So what's happening a lot as you go into it, this is happening. This is splitting away from the tailbone. So what I want you to feel that point in the back, feel like this is draining down. So as if you're being the feeling in the head, the sense of being pulled up, drawing the head up. You want the opposite in the tailbone. So feel from the tailbone that it's being pulled down towards the ground. They call it, if you do any kind of weightlifting or anything, they call this like winking. When I get to a deadlift, this is like winking where the spine starts to come out of alignment. So what you want to feel is the spine, the tailbone, like it's being sunk down back. You don't want to tuck it under. So we're not kind of tucking the tailbone, but you just want it to drop, like there's a heavy weight loaded onto it. So again, just play with as you do this with the jaw. Just feel a gentle contact with that part of the spine. Yeah, that's it. And again, take it to the point where you can maintain it. So don't go as far as where it starts to drop. Yeah, exactly. Nice. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Right. Very good. Nice and easy. Good. Great, and then here, just play with the hips a little bit. So you've got this alignment. Again, whenever you're kind of introducing complexity into the movement, the tendency is to start to come out of this alignment. So they're also being challenged by the movement itself. But just play now with a little bit, you've got this kind of movement. Play with just moving the hips a little bit, mobilizing. You can also think about dropping the body into circular patterns. But again, just keep that alignment gently, like there's a pull from the top of the head, and there's a sinking in the tailbone. All the time, trying to maintain that with the body. Obviously, there's a limit to it. So if you're kind of coming down right into the ground, the spine's going to start to curl. Going to a chemi work, your spine's going to start to curl. But in general, when you're working with structure, you want to just allow this alignment to fall into place. Very, very nice. There we go. Yeah, you can play with stepping out. Just play with anything, any kind of movement. Right, very good. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Very good. Very good. Okie dokie, perfect. So we'll just finish in one couple of minutes, just when you're really familiar with this exercise, which is this kind of figure of 8 motion here. So again, this is where we'll go in the next class, which is about kind of coordinating the limbs now. So you basically isolated the limbs, get them connecting, talking to each other in terms of the alignments, the legs, the spine, and then it's about really communicating, coordinating them together. So the hands and the legs start to work together, the spine starts to function correctly in terms of the structure here. So we'll just finish here. All I want you to think about is one side of the body at a time. So one hand, one foot, just rolling the joke here. Rolling the joke here. Just bring all your awareness, if the joke's on the right side, to that whole side of the body. With a special focus on the arm and the leg. Let the spinal alignment just kind of sit in. So just working one side at a time. Really bring all your concentration to that side of the body. What's happening in that whole side. And play with the speed of this, also play with taking it slow. So that you can really feel, especially when you switch, make the transition across the body, what's actually happening in terms of the structure. Basically, how is the arm talking with the leg? Or how is the leg talking with the arm in this case? And how are they coordinating together? So the main thing with this, the main problem with this movement is people see this as an arm exercise and the legs do nothing. But it's not that the legs are doing nothing, it's the legs are in tension and being held. But it get really bad in terms of martial qualities. I don't want to have any part of the body in tension. So I want the body to just relax into itself, the joints to relax. But just feel, you've got a very active arm, obviously, in this case, but feel you've got an equally active lower body. So it's also participating in the movement. So again, just play with both sides. Just make sure you switch everything. So switch everything over. Left side, left hand, left foot, left arm, left leg. So just play that a little bit. So obviously you can't do one side without the other. So obviously the whole other side of the body is involved. But I just want you to focus on what's that side doing. Good. Right. And then just play the last one, just with a reverse one. And again, just notice what's happening in terms of the foot, the arm, or the leg and the arm. How are they coordinating together? Play a little bit with the feet, also kind of moving them. So, okay, working with both sides. That's yeah. Great. Last 30 seconds, so just play with stepping out with the feet. So just moving the feet. Key thing now is think of the legs driving the movement. And again, think about this alignment, especially how the knees operated. So again, what you want to avoid in this case, especially with the knee, is that it starts to do this kind of, so it starts to come out. It usually happens when the hip comes in and then the knee's kind of left behind. So really include the knee in the hip work. So as you move the hips, play with changing the hand, play with changing direction. Take it slow that you can just feel that alignment fall into place, especially in the lower body. There. And just focus one side at a time. One side. As you transfer it, change all your attention to that side where the movement's kind of coordinating from. That's it. That's it, perfect. Very good. Perfect. Very nice. Okay, great. We will stop there. If you got any questions, you can ask them now. You can ask them during the break. You can ask them whatever time. I'll leave some time at the end. But if you've got any now, feel free to ask. If anything's not clear, go ahead. But we'll take a break and we'll come back on the hour. So for you, some guys, it's 10, it's 11. We'll come back on the hour, whatever it is. Wow. Oh yeah, sorry, Nina, we got a question.
Did you invent this, or can you hear me? Or
yeah, sure. Did I invent it?
Did you invent this, or did you take this from somewhere where one could look for further reference?
Right. It's kind of with any. It's a mix. So I've stolen I've stolen all of it. There's one great book I was reading. I read a few months ago now. Was called the Alignment Method. So I'll send the link to it. This is a really great book. It's a really short read, which is great, good for me. And this is a really nice guy. He was a former weightlifter, but he also he trains now with an idea like, oh, I destroyed my body in weightlifting. Now I need to work on. I'm getting older. The body's falling apart maybe a little bit. How do I align the body in terms of strength? This guy's also great because he's also in the martial arts world. So this is actually a really good book because it's a very simple kind of introduction to it. The more complex kind of look on this in terms of reading is Peter Ralston's stuff. So Peter Ralston's work, let's see, this book. Oh, it's backwards. The Principles of Effortless Power. This is the best Bible on kind of structural alignment in terms of effective and in terms of martial arts as well. Those are great books. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Great. So, and some of them I just invented, just played with them. So this is pretty much it. Okay, good. Right, let's bow out. We'll finish. Okay. Domo, arigato. Okay. Great. We'll start the next class with walking. We're about 5 minutes or so.